Hey everybody, this is Robin with All In Together. I am joined by Ricardo Diaz. He placed second at a Sage 10K this past weekend. He took the Valda list that I put together. We're going to talk about the event, a little bit about Valda, and kind of where the format sits right now. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great to me.
Perfect. So what made you bring Valda?
I like Guardian. Guardian fun. Big bonk attacks, great. Makes me happy.
Yep.
And Sage seemed like a format where Guardian was actually good again. It's been a hot minute since I would be able to say Guardian is a good class in a format, but Sage seems to be like a good place there. So originally I had been testing Bravo Flattering Showman because I like Bravo a lot. Bravo great. Mm-hmm. But I was always finding it a bit awkward to like have to keep big hands to actually do damage, and also having to find time to like actually set up and hope you draw the proper attack to set up with and then draw the resources to attack with was a bit awkward and clunky at times. It was functional, but not what I was quite happy with. Then I switched over a little bit to Old Him with like all the floor blocks and all that, and I just hated that gameplay. I'm not a big fan of just like block out entirely fatigue style. Like I like fatigue, but fatigue by damage, not just block out fatigue. Mm-hmm. So then as I was looking around and just testing stuff, I saw your list on YouTube, saw your win rate, like, he might be onto something. So I just took it out for a spin on the first day, played like 20 games and had like an 85% win rate. It's like, all right, this might be something. And kind of just played it for a few days and was like, yep, nope, this feels good. I like how this plays. It's very mid-rangey. I'm taking it to the event, and took it to the event.
Sweet, and the rest is history there. Yeah, the win rate of this deck is kind of nuts. I posted this publicly for a while, and I have like the public list versus the private list, but I just like sat on the, let me pull it up again, but I think the public list is like 200 games played with like a 60-something% win rate still. It's the highest I've seen like a public deck list in a while.
Yeah, no, it's like, I can kind of understand why, because it just numbers very well.
Yeah.
But like when you look at the deck, it doesn't seem like it would be like broken or busted. It just looks like Fair Guardian stuff. But it turns out Fair Guardian stuff might be good right now.
Yeah, I was actually listening to the Runaways, and they were talking a little bit about the event. They're like, yeah, there was five chain, 2 Oldham, and they're like, I don't know how Valda made it in the top 8, but that's weird. They're kind of scratching their head at that one, but hopefully, we can kind of show the world about why this deck is pretty good. Here is the deck list. It hasn't changed at all from our last video, but to remind you guys, I'll have it in the description as well for you guys to take a look at. Polarities for arcane matchups. I don't know if I would take it in the Rune Blades. We'll talk more about that. The Crashdown are for your setup matchups, and then Staunch is probably for things like Azalea. And I don't bring it against some Guardians. Like in the Block Slop Guardians, I think I would just play the Crashdown and not the Staunch, but we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
So for the field, I think this is kind of what we expected for the most part. I know Japan's been playing this format a bit longer than most of us have, at least from what I've heard. Obviously seeing Ira, Bravo, and Briar at the top is not a surprise. I was a little surprised to see Azalea a bit down far on that list. I've heard she's been doing pretty well. I guess if some people feel like they're bringing a lot of D-reacts, I guess, and if you don't like the gamble, I can understand not playing her a lot, but starting to have a bit of an uptick of Chain and Oldhim. I also heard Fi performed very well over the weekend, surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Fi, at least that you mentioned, Fi is, I think, a very good deck, but that was just wildly underplayed. Yeah. And I think that was part of the reason for the Chain success was there wasn't any like really, really good aggro decks at the top. Like Briar is an aggro deck, but Briar could easily brick just as much as Chain can, while Fi is consistently going to kill you in like 3 turns.
Yeah.
When you have a bunch of 2 blocks and no armor, but there just wasn't enough of them to pressure the Chains. As for Azalea, that's just a Japan thing. For whatever reason, Japan's not a big Ranger fan. You got like a few like Ranger players. Outside of that, like even if it's like the best deck in format, people were like, I ain't touching that. I'm not gonna play Ranger. Couldn't tell you why, but it's always been Ranger as not a very popular deck.
Okay, that's good to know. And I know the US loves Ranger, so I would not be surprised to see a lot more Azalea here, and I think that deck will be a bit of a problem. Not so much for Guardian, but for decks like Fi or Briar that are trying to beat the Chains, Azalea's pretty good into.
Right. Also just good into Chain as well. I think Azalea has a fairly decent matchup in the Chain.
Yeah, because if you can put like Dominate 15 and Dominate 17, I mean, you end the game pretty quickly.
Correct. Exactly. They don't have time to set up on you. So I think there's a lot of those things, like those decks that not showing up was part of the Chain success.
Yeah, 100%. That makes a lot of sense. And that's why, like, at these other events, we haven't really seen Chain pop off the way we have here. So Chain may not be, like, #1 broken deck in the format, but maybe he still loses some card come December.
Yeah.
All right, let's dig into the event. So you beat Ira round 1.
Yes. So round 1, Ira, this was actually an Edge of Autumn Ira, which is, I was like, when they flipped over, I was like, wait a second, it's Edge of Autumn. Okay, cool. I feel like this was really good for me, just because they have less value than Kodachi's, I feel, personally.
It's much easier to block them.
So much easier. So much easier. But basically, like, this matchup was pretty much just mid-range the entire time. Just play hand-to-hand, have better numbers of them turn to turn. We just did that for a while. Eventually, I was able to just put a Macho in Arsenal, wait it out, and go, hey, I'm going to kill you now because I have Dominate on demand. Granted, Macho always has Dominate, but, like, just put it there, got them low enough, and go, okay, cool, you're at 5 life and you don't have armor? I bet you don't have a D-React.
Yeah.
Macho, you don't have a floor block. I win.
It's pretty easy to count the D reacts too. It's like, okay, I've seen the somersaults, I've seen the immovables. I'm pretty safe. Or at worst, you have Tectonic to kind of clear things out.
Yes, that is Tectonic is a blessing of a card in this format.
I also think it's really not like it's much easier for us to play Macho versus most Guardians because of Civic Peak. Like I don't really care if you get the extra card.
Oh my god!
Because you're not gonna have an extra turn.
Civic Peak into Macho.
Yeah, that's gonna end a lot of games. So sweet. So we start off 1-0, and then you go round 2 into Lexi.
Yes, which was a friend of mine, and I feel a little bit bad because I was staying with him. He was letting me stay with him, and I was like, all right, sorry, man, I got to, like, kill you now. Please don't kick me out of your house. But, like, it was a very unfortunate game for Lexi. In his first 2 hands, he didn't see any arrows, so he couldn't really do much offensively. So we were just studying damage, leaking some stuff here and there. Eventually, he did draw a functional hand that got pummeled. So I was a little bit sad about the pummel. And then eventually after that, he just didn't do much and died to hammers into a dominated attack once I could finally finish him off. So
yeah, that sounds
not the most exciting games.
It sounds like Guardian versus Ranger.
Exactly. It was fine. Like, I brought in the staunches because you never know what they might bring in, because I know he's a fan of, like, Ice Lexi. Mm-hmm. So I was like, maybe he's playing, like, Shiver Dominate, so I might have to actually, like, block out attacks. But, nah, didn't have to worry about that. Nothing big happened.
Was he just on Snapshot?
No, actually not. He was just on, like, hybrid of, like, Ice/Lightning Lexi. But no Snapshot. He's not a fan of Snapshot for whatever reason.
Fair enough. All right. So round 3 was Ira again?
Yes. So this was a Kodachi Ira. This was probably the hardest Ira matchup I actually had throughout the day. I played Ira 3 times. This one was, again, just mid-range stuff. They, thankfully, like, the one thing I was worried about with Iras was, like, when I was setting up Arsenal was worrying about Smash Up.
Yep.
And having to run into Smash Up, as that does actually disrupt your Arsenal. But none of the Iras I played against had them. Or at least I never saw them, so that was very nice for me. But just play a lot of mid-range in them. Eventually, again, put a Macho in Arsenal, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm just going to take down their life total until I can kill them with Macho. But then also I was like, hey, if I draw 3 blues and a pummel, I can just start shoving armor in the way and kill them. Then I drew 3 blues and a pummel. I was like, okay, let's shove armor in the way and kill them. And it worked. So, like, their life total was high, but 8 life is not enough to keep you alive against Valda sometimes, so...
Yeah, you get put in a tough spot, and they're like, oh, okay, I can probably live this, because they're like, you know, it costs you 3 blues to play this, like, they can't really predict the pummel, and if they don't have the armor for it, it's pretty easy to sneak that and surprise them.
Yes, like, they don't, like, that's one of the things, like, a lot of the other classes right now don't have the armor to really have the life buffer that we do, to be able to go, I'm just going to eat 12 damage to kill you this turn. And that's a lot of the ways I'm able to beat Ira is, like, we just trade a little bit on life and just keep my armor until I really need the armor to go, let me shove this in front of everything, and you're dead now. Mm-hmm. So, standard game of Valda Guardian mid-range play.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm glad she's not just like doesn't feel like it's a one-deck format where Ira's just kind of dominating everything.
No, at least it didn't feel that way at this event.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And then I think round 4, was this another Ira?
Yes, it was. That was the last Ira I played. It was the third Ira. So yeah, this Ira player, unfortunately, they just bricked their hands. They went second, and on their first turn, they went Kodachi into blue for 1.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, this is not great. So I'm able to attack them. They blocked some stuff like leak 2 or 3 damage. The next turn was Kodachi into blue for 1. I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I'll
take my wins how I get them sometimes, but, like, unfortunately, his hand just did not line up. He had Arsenal to blue because he just had nothing else to do with it. His next hand was red, where he's just like, pitch a red to Bittering Thorns you, pitch a red to Kadachi, chain ender is a blue 1.
Oh.
It's like, yeah, this is a sad game. And, you know, sometimes that's flesh and blood for you. Variance does happen, even in the most consistent of heroes.
Yeah. I think anytime, like, I've made deep runs in tournaments, I feel like I've definitely gotten a little bit lucky. And sometimes, like, your opponent just getting unlucky there can give you all you need.
Correct. And I think, like, part of my success was me getting lucky. Like, I think to be successful in a tournament, of course there's skill involved, but there also is a little bit of luck involved. Like, if you're not getting lucky on the day, you're probably not going to top 8. You have to have some luck.
Because you're what? Like,
whether it be gem luck or something.
Yeah, out of 250 people, only 8 make it to top 8, so it's like,
yep,
luck's going to play at least a little bit of a factor.
Exactly, yes.
All right, so I think we have our first wizard.
Yes, and my first loss of the day. So this was an Icelander. Was actually a little bit surprised to see Icelander this high up. I didn't think Icelander was that strong going into this event, but glad to be proven otherwise, that she's doing decently well. But this match was a lot of them attacking me with like Arcane for 6, like, oh, here's my 2-card 6 Arcane, so I'm able to like pitch 3 to AB, but I'm still leaking 3 damage every single time it happens. I brought an Arcane Polarity into the matchup as it is a Arcane damage matchup, but unfortunately, I drew the Arcane Polarities on a turn where they went Scar for a Scar Wounded Bull. And I just look at my Arcane Polarities and go, well, these don't do anything. So I think this was a misplay on my part of keeping them and just hoping like the next turn they would send Arcane where I could just kind of like utilize them. But then I never really got to use them for any sort of buffer. Eventually, Life Total got pretty low. I got to about 4 life, I think. And at that point in time, they had past turn Winner's Bited me into Aether Ice Vein. So I was down to 1 blue in hand. And on that turn, I could have just passed, hoping that they wouldn't be able to kill me because they had shown me a blue Winner's Bite off of the Aether Ice Vein fuse. So I was like, oh, okay, no, I'm safe to attack with the hammer and at least try to chip in damage. I was wrong. The other card they had in hand at the arsenal was a blue Emeritus, and I died to blue Emeritus. So,
oh, that's painful.
It's painful, but like possibly a misplay on my part. Hard to say because I had been shown the Winner's Bite. It's like, no, I'm safe. They're just gonna have a Winner's Bite there. It's okay.
Yeah,
everything's fine.
Were they like low on cards in deck, or were they at the point where like you could have reasonably fatigued them?
They were down to like roughly, I'd say 12 cards in deck.
Okay, and that's pretty hard to do when you're at like 3 or 4. Because if they have like 4 cards in deck at that point, you're like, I'm pretty safe to just pass for the rest of the game and just like force them to kill me. Yeah,
but at that point, because I think they were also like not, they think they're like at 4 or 5 life at that point in time. I can't write on my life pad with me right now to check. But like they were not super high themselves either. So I think it was like, oh, I need to pressure them just to like get this done because like eventually I could just die to random nonsense. But I just died to that turn. So, you know.
Yeah. I've had games where I like swung hammer because I was like, okay, they have 4 cards left. They have like nothing left in deck. If I just swing hammer, this will take everything they have. It'll take like 2 cards from them and they can't kill me. And they went like blue Voltic Bolt from Arsenal, discard Twinning. They discarded like several of the amp spells, and I was like, oh God. I needed to like watch your pitch deck better because I was like, I'm at 6 here. I should be fine, and I have 1 floating on this attack, and they're like, I'm gonna hit you for 7 arcane, and I was like, oh my God. I was just like, I was not prepared for that.
No, like Icelander is real, people. If you do not believe Icelander is a real deck in this format, lo and behold, this is before she has a real weapon. Just you wait to Compendium, and she might get a real weapon, and then we have real things to fear.
I think that the Elemental Tier act is also pretty big for her. That she can just go 1 for 5, give you a Frostbite, and then cast a spell after that. It seems pretty huge.
Yes. I think that is very good. And honestly, I think she needs it. Like, despite the fact that I lost to this deck, I 100% think she needs it. Like, she's not at a point right now where she can fight off everything. And I think Icelander is at a good place when she's like kind of 50-50 into everything, and that's great.
Yeah, we love having her as like a skill matchup that you can try to fatigue, you can try to race. Like, there's just like a lot of different ways to play it. Like there's always people always talk about the game where Hamilton was able to read somebody's arsenal as a D-React and then killed them with Arcane for the rest of the game, which is like, I think that's such a cool deck to have, and it's such a fun deck to play against. So I'm excited to, hopefully she's kind of a big pillar of the format going forward.
I hope the same exact thing. I want her to be a real deck, mostly because I also have a bunch of blues in my deck. So like, ice does not scare me in that sense.
Yeah.
But like, I want her here. She's a fun hero and such a well-designed hero and good for the game, I think.
100% agree. All right, so then on the flip side,
yeah,
we get round 6.
Correct. Round 6, we play against Icelander again, which at this point is like, I don't want to do this again. I've already lost to one of them. I don't want to lose it again. But thankfully, this game was, again, kind of mid-rangey, as Icelander games tend to be. My polarities did line up at good times where I was actually able to gain the life off them. And then was at a pretty high life total when I was able to finish this game, where I don't know if this was a correct play to make. It won me the game, but still don't know if it was right. I had put a pummel in Arsenal turn before, and I drew my hand up, draw 3 blues and another pummel. My opponent is at 5 life? 7 life? 5 life? Can't exactly remember. But they're dead to double pummel pretty easily. I was at like 13 or 14 life, where I could pretty easily take the 7 physical damage and still be out of arcane range. But if they have a D-react of any sort, they like playing on move or something, I just probably lose the game by doing this. But I was like, you know what? I haven't seen any D-reacts yet. I feel pretty safe. Let me just take this 7 physical damage, go to 7 or 8, and then try to kill them with the double pummel. So my turn to swing for 4. They block 3 because who's predicting a double pummel? And then they get double pummeled and die. I don't know if I deserve to win that game, but I will take my victories how I get them.
I've definitely been able to do that to Icelanders before. That's like, all right, I like, because they're like, oh, it's like, is he keeping a blue back to like prevent arcane damage?
Yeah.
Like, why is he holding these cards? And you're just trying to be like, what am I doing here? Like, could this be maybe like a life gain spell or something? And you're just trying to get them to like bite one way or the other, and you're usually able to punish them.
Yep. Yeah. If they had just blocked like one more card, I think they lived just fine. But they didn't, so we take those.
We always do.
Round 7.
Yep.
The first Guardian Mirror. So this game was kind of showing me why I chose Valda over Bravo. They couldn't execute their game plan as well as they wanted to because of the fact that we were able to stop them from doing so, or we could actually exploit their game plan. So, of course, mid-range stuff of Guardian gameplay. Old Ones is very good here, because we're playing the dominated Old One attacks that no other Guardian's really playing. We get to do stuff of like, here's a Quicken, now let me attack you for 10 and go, if you take 4, you lose that Quicken token. So you got to give me a hand where you now can't utilize the Quicken token, or you lose it. So either way, it's a win-win on you for like Civic Step blocks. Civic Peak is very great in this matchup because they quite often keep a card to Arsenal anyway, so they have no action points. They have a card in hand, you go, sweep. Civic Peak blocks for 2 here, just fine. You can have another card. You're not going to use it anyways. So, and then as I mentioned previously before, I love tectonic instability. And man, is it so good into Bravo, because they go, let me put this attack I want to dominate into Arsenal, and you go, tectonic instability. You can't use your hero power next turn. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, and it usually makes them like draw a card they really can't use that well. So like, if you're to ever keep like a 1-card hand of you just go instability, and they kind of have to throw like a 3 for 7 at you, and you get all the space to kind of set up again.
Yep. So it felt pretty good of a matchup. Like mirror wise, like our armor just works really well into them. We get to play the old ones. Like they could play the old ones too, but they don't. We do. So we get to punish other Guardians by playing those things. And we have ways of dealing with ours, because also we're playing red disable and things like that. So like if they set up an Arsenal, you go, here's my red disable, you got to give me 2 cards and hope I don't have a pummel. Or if I have red disable with dominate, you lose your Arsenal and you still can't use your hero power.
Yeah, it's basically like a pummel on top of a Arsenal disruption.
Yep. So we just have so many ways of disrupting them that it is still a Guardian Mirror, so you have to like play very tightly. Numbers can work not in your favor. We're not playing a hammer that really fatigues well, as we're playing mono Titan's Fist. And if another Guardian were to try to mid-range us, they possibly could do so.
Yep.
But since we have the ability to dominate more effectively than others, we typically, at least I have felt typically, we're decently favored in the Guardian Mirrors.
Yeah, especially if we like bring in things like Crash Down, where you can start setting up, and then you can set up on-demand dominate with that.
Yes. I felt for this matchup, it was not a crash down matchup. I did bring Staunches in because I expect them to be attacking us more. Like, I feel like Bravo has to be pretty aggressive. So I didn't feel like crash down was what I would want because just didn't feel like I would ever get to the point where I'd need to do so.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Staunch is great.
Yeah, Staunch is an all-star in this matchup for sure. One of my early testing games into this, I landed up blinding onto another Bravo, and I forgot how much text blinding removes. They like set up an attack because like it turns off his hero power. Obviously, the attack didn't have an on hit, and then he pummeled the attack, which did nothing. It didn't give the attack any power. It didn't give it the extra on hit. He just spent 2 cards to do nothing, and I was like, wow, it's so uncommon to see something that just says everything loses all abilities. And you're like, what exactly does that mean? And you're like, oh, that like wipes all text off cards.
I did not think about that, but yeah, that just makes pummel blank card, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's a powerhouse if you can ever land it. And it really kind of like, because I think some people think they can just go, oh, I'll just like take the damage and throw it back. Not with blinding. Blinding is just like, it's almost like a time walk.
That is. I never got to land one of those. I just got to threaten Aura Disruption into Civic Step blocks, which is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, it's still good value, and it's like a very efficient attack, and usually it's like a red macho that costs 1 less, so it's just like, there's so many things that just like line up with these cards that feel good.
Yes, those 10 power attacks are fantastic in this format. And I think very, very undervalued, even by other Guardians, not just us.
Yeah, I know there's some anti-synergy in Bravo, because of like, with the heat, you can't flip them, but I think other Guardians could really consider playing them.
If Oldhim ever gets to the point where he gets a bit more mid-rangey, it's not bad. Victor could also use it if Victor starts getting played in the format. So I hope they see more play, because they're good cards. They do a lot of stuff, and they're just good numbers. So,
yeah.
Free card 10...
I'm a big fan of throwing like a choke slam out and then having 2 floating with a card, and they don't know if it's pummel or if I'm heaving. So that's been a huge power play usually.
Oh yes, that is very true, very correct. I guess that's something we haven't mentioned, but like the fact that it's a 2-cost heave lines up perfectly with like bluffing pummels.
Yeah, we're like one of the few classes that gets like a true mix up. Like if we can show pummel but do something else with that value, where other heroes can't.
Yes, I 100% agree with that, and it's a great thing to be able to do.
Yeah. All right, let's get into Briar, round 8.
So Briar, I think this matchup I got to go second. Turn 0, they attacked me a bit and then try to set up an arsenal, which is perfectly fine. Cool, great. My turn comes around, I get to send Boulder Drop with a pummel behind it. My opponent just no-blocked, I guess thinking that they could keep a 3-card hand with an arsenal, and that would be good offensive value, but instead they took 11 damage and lost 2 cards in hand, and they never caught back up. At that point in time, I could just like block a little bit, send an attack, block a little bit, send an attack, and eventually that killed them. But like just not respecting pummel on turn 1, they lost.
Yeah, those are the games I feel like on Talishar, they just like leave as soon as you hit a pummel boulder drop to start the game. They're like, all right, we'll go next, it's fine. I'm not playing this shit out.
Yeah, I don't blame them for wanting to do so if they want to leave at that point, but like, no, it's just, people, if you're not playing pummel in your Guardian deck, play pummel in your deck. Pummel is a stupid card. If they banned it, I could almost agree with it. I hope they never ban it, but like, pummel good.
Yeah, I think that's where we're getting like a little bit more defensive support with the new set. I think pummel should stay. If we weren't getting more support and the format was staying as is, I could see it going, but like we already see a whole new set of D-Reacts coming in, so I think it makes sense for pummel to stay in currently.
Yes, which hopefully it does stay. It is very costly. It's not like a cheap, easy play to do. It's not like it's lightning press where it's like, gotcha. Take the burn up shock damage that you couldn't really do anything about.
You know pummel's coming. There's no way to trick it. There's like, you could play like Threadbare Tunic, but like if you're playing a Threadbare Tunic, it's very obvious. Like, okay, you have pummel in the deck and you're trying to do so. Like, Old Knocker's gone, so like the old like pummel trick is kind of like, all right, it's pretty obvious to, if you're pitching a whole extra card, why are you doing that?
Correct. So the pummel, I think, is a fair card. This is a very strong card, especially right now when there's low on D-Reacts. When the format is low on D-Reacts, it's super good. And I mean, the amount of times you have probably seen me mention pummel throughout this presentation, pummel's good, guys.
Yeah. Round 9 in Swiss here, I think is your Your final round for top 8?
Yes, correct. So I think at this point I'm technically locked for top 8 because I was 7-1 going into this round, but I was not able to figure out exactly where the actual numbers lined up because it didn't post standings before the last round, so I wasn't really sure. But that's neither here nor there. This was another Guardian mirror. This was actually like a properly defensive Guardian as opposed to like Bravo being a more offensive Guardian. So this is the matchup where we actually got to bring in Crashdowns and send big attacks. So basically this game went not to second cycle because first cycle my things just lined up pretty well for damage of being able to like play, is it draw a crowd, the one that +3 on your next turn. So draw a crowd into like Crashdown and then Arsenal a big attack and then draw a pummel and go, sweet, here's my red disable that's coming in for 18. Just kidding, it's actually 22 off this pummel. Playing against Oldhim, though, they do have staunch responses, and like I think my opponent here was playing Rainbow Staunch from what it looked like.
Oh god.
But even then, it's like good, but not. If you're not able to Arsenal the Staunch, the value's not that great. Because I'm setting 22. You just block your full hand, including Staunch. You still only block 13 or 14 if you have a 4 block. So it's not insane value. It is really good card economy. But in this game, I was not worried so much about card economy as it was just sending as big dominated attacks as possible to kill them. Because I know against Oldhim, I can't win a card economy game.
Yeah, not with Titan's Fist. There's no way we have no shot. Even if we had Sledge, I think we're still behind with just his hero power alone. So we got to find a way to break through his defenses.
Yeah. So that was the game plan, send big attacks. So I think my attacks were like send 22, send 14, send 18. And eventually those things killed him. So I think on the last turn I killed him, he was able to give me Civic Steps. So I had a Quicken token where I was able to get 3 Seismic Surges off setting up a chest piece into a headpiece block. So I was able to send a Dominated Boulder Drop for free into a Macho Grande. So like 7 Dominate into 8 Dominate was enough to kill him.
Also a little fun fact for when you're playing in the Civic Steps, try to line your surges up because Valda's effect works for the whole turn. So if you're able to throw 2 crush attacks, both have Dominate.
Yes, that is very true.
I've been able to steal a couple Guardian Mirrors because of that, and it's pretty cool to realize you're like, wait a second, this like buckling blow for 6 still presents lethal. Just because, you know, it has Dominate too behind like our choke slam for 8 earlier, so it's pretty neat to see that.
Yes, it's very good. Like I think opponents don't realize that either. Hopefully they will realize that eventually, but like for the time being, I don't think any opponent realized that you can double Dominate.
Yeah,
I never got to do so because I just had Macho, which already has Dominate. But like had I had another Crush attack, that would have dominated as well. So
yeah, it's a pretty uncommon interaction, and so I think people won't notice it for a while, but I think eventually people will catch up.
Yeah. Well, that's if Valda gets popular, which I both hope and don't hope she gets popular, because I don't want people starting to tech against it, nor people voted out. I don't think we'll ever be the voted out Guardian, but I don't want to ever get to worrying about being the voted out Guardian.
I'm with you, because I think Oldhim is going to be the perfect Guardian to go always, even if he's not the best. I think people just hate playing against Ice and Earth.
No one likes that hero power. It's just like, this game goes on forever. I might kill him eventually, but it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
So
we're going to top 8 here.
The chains.
Yeah. So we looked at 5 chains, 2 Oldhims, and then you on Valda.
Yes.
So we'll go into our first top 8 game.
It's a very fun top 8. So if people don't know, I'm actually from Osaka. Like, I'm not from Osaka, but I live in Osaka now. And out of the top 8, I was the only Osaka player in the field of all these Tokyo players. So it's very interesting because I didn't know anyone, which is really weird for me when I typically play in events. Like, I know most of the people in my Osaka scene, but none of the Tokyo players. So it's very interesting to, like, all these people were like, who's this Ricardo Diaz person? Like, who's this random foreigner? Where is he from? Who is he? So it was very interesting getting to meet the players, for me at least, there.
Yeah.
But yes, Chain. So Chain's fun. He does stuff. Quite scary sometimes. But thankfully, I was higher seed than every single chain. So this was good because I could always go first, which I think is the right call because I just don't want them setting up early shackles to start doing their stuff.
Yeah, and they can't like drop Malefics and then like start with like a reduced rune chant like in Arsenal. So you're just like, all right, this is at least a little easier.
Yeah. So like I think being able to just go first and being higher seed than all the chains was a blessing just to not start behind.
Yeah.
Because I think if you go second, you're just behind. But thankfully, yeah. So as we kind of see here, Pummel on Renounce is great. So Renounce is very, very, very good into Chain. It is the best card. If we could play this in like blue or yellow.
Oh my god, I would kill for a blue Renounce.
Oh, please, let me have it. Why is it only red, damn it? Give me more. But like for Chain, it is such a good card because like they can't make Shackles, they can't make Rune Chant, so it effectively stops their turn. Like they have to basically just take a setup turn and pass. So going first, I was able to just had a Renounce in hand, had a Pummel in hand. I was like, cool, Arsenal with this Pummel, keep the Renounce. Next turn, if I need to block like one card, I do. If not, Renounce Pummel. So thankfully, Renounce Pummel went off just fine. They didn't have any D-reacts or anything to stop the Renounce. And because of that, they kind of got behind on their Shackle plays. So I was able to actually just keep sending like big attacks, with big attacks being just like, here's 8, here's 8, here's 8, here's 8, over and over, until they eventually just ran out of cards. Their Shackles weren't lining up. They weren't able to do any big setup. So thankfully, just the one extra turn of not having Shackles probably helped me a lot of them not getting to do what they want to do. So I don't think we can fatigue Chain is what I'm, now that I've looked back at these matches, I think at least this style of Chain is not fatigable per se. Like they will just set up a big attack and kill you if you try to just block them out.
Yeah.
You have to actually attack them, which they don't have much armor. I think between the 3 chains, one of them had 0 defense value and the other 2 had 1 Blade Beckoner chest piece. So they have like the extra 1 value there. But otherwise they have like no armor. So if you just present damage, they have to start blocking at some point. And if you get them to start blocking, you can hopefully keep them off doing these big, huge, wide turns that they want to do.
Yeah, I think we can only start to fatigue Chain once he's at like sub 5 or sub 10, like really when they're at low life, and they have to start thinking about like, is this a chokeslam with a Pummel? Is this like a boulder drop with a Pummel? They have to start thinking about these plays, and you're putting them in spots where they have to really kind of like second guess every attack you send. Yeah, so it's like if you just try to go in with life gain and just blocking. I remember early on I was talking with locals and they're like, yeah, I think Chain's probably like B, most likely like C tier. And I was like, you just kind of block out and he dies. And I was like, brother, you haven't played against Chain before. You played against some random guy in Talishar who picked up a Chain deck, but you haven't picked against someone who like knows how to play Chain and who knows how to set up a second cycle. If you're gonna win events, you're in for a bad time.
Chain is not a C tier deck. I'm not sure I want to say like Chain is best deck in form, despite the 5 chains being on top. I stand by it's not like best deck in format. I think people are gonna overreact to these results, but it's a good deck, but definitely not best deck. I just think it's a very solid deck.
Yeah, I think it's a high skill cap deck that you can really blow people out with, but I do think it is abusable, and I do think you can miss on on your Shackles, and you can kind of lose to variance a little bit with him.
100% agree, which actually, if you look at the top 4 game,
perfect.
It's kind of exactly what happened. This game, I didn't have a Renounce into Pummel to start the game, sadly. Can't always be lucky.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
But yeah, man, I don't have a Pummel on turn 0 to put in Arsenal. This game sucks. But this opponent, they were just doing Chain stuff, activating their ability, getting some Soul Shackles, but then literally was just flipping 0 Rune Gate. So when they have to start sending Rune Gates from hand, you're in a good position. You can block those out just fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the entirety of the game, he banished maybe 12 cards, 13 cards. I can't remember exactly. He hit 1 Rune Gate the entire time.
Yeah, if he's just sending those Rune Gates from hand, they're just like you're throwing like brutal onslaughts and like 2 for like just like these are not scary cards.
Correct. And so they can't force the damage through. You're like, all right, let me pitch the Rune Chance, let me block out. Cool. You get nothing. You don't have any more Rune Chance to set up with after you're out of Malefics. Like, so yeah, those like, I think my favorite personally for me, not for the Chain player, was when they flipped over 3 Malefics in a row off their Shackles.
That's
like
backbreaking.
Backbreaking for them.
Yeah, like your deck just doesn't work anymore.
Exactly. So like, unfortunately, that's I think again part of the issue of why I think Chain is not best deck in format is things have to so like line up luck-wise for you when you're not able to do second cycle stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sometimes you just lose the game to your Soul Shackles. It's not super high variance, but there is quite a bit of variance in the Chain deck. And until it's not that high of variance, I will never think it's best deck in format.
That makes sense. All right, so let's look at the finals.
So this one was me getting lucky again, getting the pummel announced to start the game. Felt great, was doing well. But then after that, I was not able to really draw much pressure. I was just drawing like a bunch of blue 6s and stuff like that. It was like, all right, cool. Let's send 6. Let's send 7. Hope this gets enough. And then at some point, I just drew 4 reds on like a mini turn for them where they were sending some arcane and stuff. I was like, well, I have 2 arcane polarities in this hand, and they have a reaping blade, and I cannot get below them in life. This is really bad. And this is when I realized I should not have brought in polarities. So, mistake number 1 on my part. I don't think bringing polarities into chain is correct anymore.
Yeah, I think if they're on Reaping Blade, or if you know they're on Reaping Blade, I wouldn't bring it in. But if they're on like a Nebula, I've seen like someone Nebula Blade, so that might make more sense. But yeah, for sure, if they're on Reaping Blade, it's ugly.
Yes, so like that was really bad. So I just leaked a bunch of damage that turn. But I think also, like, not even just for that matter, it's like of needing to be able to pressure them. I don't know how you sideboard typically in these matchups when you were taking out for them, but I've taken out 2 of the old ones.
Yeah,
because
it depends like which matchup I'll side it for, but like old ones are usually like if I don't care about deck damage, it's usually one of the first cards to go, and we have like a lot of them, so you're still usually have 2 of them in the deck, but 4 is kind of too many at sometimes.
Yes, which is what I was thinking, so that's why I took out. And maybe had those been old ones in my hand as opposed to polarities, for one, they would have been able to block 3 at least. And secondly, they could have been pressure that I actually needed to win the game. Because, like I was saying, I didn't draw enough pressure to kill them. Because even though they were getting down to like 5 life, was I think where I was able to get them to, I could never get over the top of that. Because even like dominated, 7 power, 8 power was not enough to kill them because they had the 1 armor block, 3 block in hand. So they were at just slightly too high for me to dominate, kill them. While had I had a 10 power attack, perhaps I could have stepped that up to kill them. So
that makes sense.
Mistake on my part. But despite that, on the last turn when I was able to set a March Out Arsenal, where they actually went down to 1 the previous turn, they presented 28 damage on their turn. And I was dead because I had been at 11 life.
How many cards do they have left in the deck? You remember roughly?
I want to say at this point in time, they're roughly like at 8 or 9 cards left in deck.
Okay. So they weren't quite like fully out of the game yet, where they're like no cards left in there.
They probably would have had like at least 1 more good turn left in them after this one. And yeah, so that last turn, they were able to play a Stirrings from hand to get +5. They had already had 3 Malefics in play because they were just setting up over time, which is perfectly fine. Jane does that, good for them. But they were able to send Stirrings into a Deathly Well. So they were able to send Deathly Will for 11 with 7 rune chants, more rune chants, and then send a Deadly Delight for some more damage. So I was like, I cannot block this out. GG, Chain. GG.
Yeah, I think you and I were talking to start where they're like, especially when they bring in like send odd rune chants, like they send like 2 or they send 4. Do you consider playing like staunches so you can kind of have like for like extra floating, you can like pay for the staunch, you can kind of it's a consideration. I think especially because more and more are on Reaping Blade, polarity is a real feels bad because you pretty much always are ahead of them on life throughout these games. If you're ever behind, I think you're real scared. You're in a really bad spot if you're behind on life unless you're about to kill them. So I think it's something we may want to go back to the drawing board a bit. We talked about some other cards. Maybe polarity isn't kind of the auto include I thought it could have been. Maybe we look at things like Oasis, but it's something to consider. I mean, the format's still new, being figured out.
Very, very.
A lot of the LSS employees have said, hey, this format really isn't out. Like, we're playing kind of like a beta test or alpha test of this version, so like things aren't working as intended, and there are holes that will be filled, there will be like metagame players that will pop up, and so a lot of these things that we have right now are not really kind of designed to work the way they're supposed to, so I'm sure while we're trying to like ramshackle together sideboards and like figure things out, I think things will look very different come February.
I agree with that entirely. I think things will definitely change. Compendium, they say it's going to be a big change, and I have no reason to disbelieve that it's going to be a big change for the format.
We already saw a really huge piece for Valda that was spoiled. Like Magmatic Carapace is, I think, an auto include in the deck for sure. Like it's 2 Guardwell, which is phenomenal, and then whenever we play an aura, we can pay an extra resource to make Seismic Surges, which is already where we want to be. And I think with that, we'll probably be getting some archetype support for this kind of aura Seismic Surge build, which is exactly where she wants to be. So. I'm excited to see what can cook.
Correct. I agree with that. I think as that card looks great for. Also, like, I just love Guardian in general, so for like Pleiades, also looks pretty good. Seismic Surges are good for every single Guardian.
Yeah.
Valda uses the best, but like Pleiades being able to go, Aura, make a Seismic Surge, great, let's do stuff. Like, good.
Especially off things like
good to have in the format.
Yeah, like off like what happens next. She gets his full suite of auras, and like it really kind of like makes things just click so much better for her. So I'm excited to see her actually get some room to kind of grow in the format.
She is one of the heroes that does scare me of what her potential can be, just because her ability to have function the same way as like Valda does, like evasive damage on demand, is very powerful in this format currently. I'm not sure if that'll be the same post compendium, but as is, she's a hero that can go, I'm going to smack you for 23 with confidence. And it's not like a hard thing for her to do.
No, it's pretty easy to set up, and she like blocks out okay. She's got good armor.
Yeah.
I think she'll be a real player going forward. I know other people have talked about her before. I think confidence gets a little weird with the amount of block cards in the format. Like, I'm just used to playing her into like block slot like Terra or Ultim.
Yeah.
So like that feels real bad, but like into other decks where you're just trying to set up and then you're gonna go for crazy numbers, like if Ira's not aggressive enough, or if there's just like some other mid-range decks, I mean, you can blow them out and they never really get a chance to play.
Yes, correct. Like, and that's very strong. Hopefully she continues to be strong. I want Guardian to be good in the format. Like I said, I love Guardian. So let this be the format where Guardian is good.
Absolutely. So, do you have any final thoughts for us after playing the event and kind of just getting to experience the format?
Overall, I think it's going to be a good format. I do think, like you were mentioning, this is still kind of like almost a beta test of the format. So we're not stable of what the format will be. And I think part of that is part of why I was so successful at the event was I'm comfortable playing Guardian. I knew Guardian had the best armor. I know Pummel was a broken card in this format as is. And a lot of those things just played out in the way that they should to help me do well in this event. Armor is very powerful in this format. The one extra life that Valda has is absurd. When you think about it, just like you are just 5% better than other classes or other heroes.
Yeah, and your hero power, like it doesn't feel like you like lack a hero power. Like
Correct.
Yeah, because I think like we've seen that with some other heroes, like Yoji doesn't have a hero power, she gets some extra life. It's like our hero power is still really good, and in some cases it's a lot better than other heroes. Like if Azalea or KO are popular, those are decks that we just like can't lose to.
Oh, if KO was ever popular, Valda is the deck to beat. Same with Reiner. If Reiner gets popular, not that bad. Like as far as Guardians go into Reiner, Valda's the place to be.
Yeah, and like we're playing enough big attacks where you're just converting really well into him. So if he like tries to, intimidate your hand, we have a fridge to block, and then on the crackback we can send some obscene things.
Yes, it's great, and I think the format will be good. I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. It's really nice to be able to great for new players to get into the game. For old players who just want to try new heroes, this is a great format to be able to try. I think, despite the 50-something IRAs that we had at the event, the format is more wide open than people would think. And I think that people are just not experimenting enough in the format currently. And I hope that going forward, people will be willing to experiment more and not just go, well, I know Briar is good, I know Ira is good, I'm just going to play these two popular heroes. I hope people explore more. It's a very open format, and hopefully will only get better with Compendia.
100%. I know a lot of people that I play with are testing new heroes, and I think there's way more than just what people have seen so far. I think there's a lot of really cool decks, and I think Compendium's going to have a lot of really powerful tools.
And I think just in general, Compendium's going to be just great for the game, as in it seems like every hero is going to get something, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But making everyone get stuff for Sage will be very interesting. Like, I also really love Marlin, so I'm really excited to see what they do with Marlin in Sage and making her actually playable. I love Betsy. I want to see if Betsy can actually be made, which honestly, right now, I think Betsy is playable in Sage.
I think she's a reasonable deck.
Honestly, not even a bad choice.
Her hat's insane. She's like a really good Anathos deck. She just has some like really good options. Like, I think she's a cool deck. You can play things like Zealous Belting or like out muscle with an Anathos and just do obscene damage on offense. Correct.
She gives everything evasion, basically. Like, I think, honestly, if you are someone who's like, oh no, there's going to be a bunch of chain in my meta, pick up Betsy. Betsy will murder chains because every attack will get your crush on, you'll get all your on hits, and you will kill them in like 4 turns because they don't have time to set up against you.
Yeah, at that point they have to go on unmovable, and like then it just gets real awkward for them.
Yep. So that is the one thing I do fear as a Guardian player, that going forward people will start playing unmovable more. But also at the same time, I don't think every deck can leverage unmovable very well.
Yeah.
Because I know some IRAs were playing unmovable into me, and like the first IRA I played was playing unmovable into me. They would play the unmovable off of blue in their arsenal, and then on their next turn they would just like send a red attack because they didn't have a second blue, because they're very tight on their blues as is.
Mm-hmm.
So like they base their deck plan around drawing 1 blue, and then when they do draw 1 blue and they have to use that 1 blue to play unmovable, what are they now doing on their turn?
Yeah, I think there's some things you can test with unmovable and some of the equipment of the format. I won't give away too much of what we've been seeing, but I think there's some older equipment that people haven't used in a long time that may come up in interesting ways that I think makes unmovable a lot easier for more decks.
Yeah, I kind of in a way do hope so, because I do think Guardian is very strong. I don't know if it's the best class in format, but there's an argument there for it being best class in format currently.
I think it just has such a high floor where like it's a very valid deck to take, whether you're playing Bravo, Ultim, or Valda. There's a lot of good Guardians. Like, even Betsy is a great option to take. Like, you can take just about any Guardian, and I think you can at least see, a moderate amount of success.
Correct. Because, like, we're not even mentioning Terra, and there was a hot minute where people were like, oh, Terra's so great in Stage because his numbers are just super good, because he's like, pitch 2, swing hammer for swing sledge for 7. On your turn, pitch for a D-React, get another might. Now I can swing sledge for 8. And, like, there was only 1 Terra at the event. Maybe had there been more, maybe Terra would have done better. All of the Guardians are viable.
Yeah, no, I think it's really exciting, and like Mastery Pack gave us some real tools for this format. Not so much for Class Constructed, but like for Sage, it's a goated set.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Like, so we're not, at least in this current iteration, we're not even playing Fault Line, which Fault Line is a very good card. And maybe there's merit to playing Fault Line in the deck. The fact that like de facto CNC was considered a maybe card shows you the power of Guardian.
100%. Well, hey, I really appreciate the time, Ricardo. I know we have a bit of a hard limit here, so I just want to say thank you for coming on. And is there anything you want to plug that I can help? Me? Absolutely.
I don't really have anything to plug. I don't have like a YouTube or like I have a Twitter, but like it's just for Fab, basically, of finding events in Osaka. Mm-hmm. But to any players who have the opportunity, please come out to Japan. Come to some of the callings out here. It's a lot of fun. I know it's probably very expensive for some people in the U.S. to get out here, but trust me, it's worth coming out to Japan to play these events. Great events. We get great prizing. We have stuff, and you get to come to Japan. Doesn't everyone want to come to Japan? Come on over. Play some games.
Absolutely. It
sounds great.
Sounds like a blast.
It is.
All right. Well, thank you so much, man. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
All right. See you guys later.